across the country and around the world is moments away with an ABC News update on 89 WLS and WLSAM.com.
724, Wake with Jake, Saturday morning right here in 89 WLS. That last statement by Jay Carney. You know, they do have money for security. They have a big budget. They have money. They have money for concrete barriers. They had money for the embassy in Vienna this year to buy a whole stable full of volts at $40,000 per. And spend another $108,000 for a big charging station for the volts. Because it was part of the Green Initiative, and they wanted to show the people in Europe that they're part of climate change. They had money for that. So they could have put some concrete barriers in Benghazi. Terry in Chicago. Good morning, Terry.
Hello?
Yes, Terry. What can I do for you?
Why don't you tell the truth about the funding for the war?
What about it?
When they voted to authorize the war, Bush went to Congress, told them that he needed the authorization, so Saddam thought he was serious. He said he was going to continue with the inspectors, he was going to continue with diplomatic stuff. As soon as they signed it, he pulled the inspectors out and started the war. He's the one who never put it on the budget. Your buddy Ryan is the one who kept voting to.
Well, who voted?
Spending.
Terry, who voted for the war?
I voted to give him authorization so he could use it.
So who's that?
Applied to them. He voted for that.
Wait a minute. Who voted for it? Did Biden vote for it?
He didn't vote for the funding for it for all those times that your buddy Ryan did, and the Republicans.
Well, number one, Paul Ryan. I don't know Paul Ryan, so he's not my buddy. But was Paul Ryan the only one who voted for it?
The Republican-controlled Congress, yes, passed it every time.
Did any Democrats vote for it?
Yes.
So
you had your blue dogs.
So you had Democrats and Republicans vote for it then.
Yes.
And then Biden didn't.
Why didn't the Republicans put it? They controlled the budget process. They controlled all that when Bush was there. Why didn't they put it on the budget? Why don't we have a budget for 4 years now? There's no budget for 4 years. Why didn't they put supplementals? It won't go through. They submitted the budget. It keeps getting filibustered in the Senate.
No, it doesn't. The Democrats don't even bring it. The Democrats don't even bring it up for a vote anymore in the Senate, Terry.
Because it gets filibustered every time they put it through. It gets filibustered.
Terry, and one time. You know what, Terry? And the one time they did bring it up, it got voted down in the Senate 97-0, right?
You're being disingenuous.
How am I being disingenuous?
They controlled the Senate. They had the Senate for 2 months till Scott Brown got in.
Hey, 97-0. 97-0, Terry. What about the first year they controlled the Senate and the House? Okay, goodbye. There you go. There's your thinking. You want to go around in circles? 97-0 in the Senate. What budget was that? The one that lost 97-0 in the Senate.
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey.
Terry sounds very bitter. Very, very bitter. 728, back after this.
89 WLS.
Game day. The Fighting Irish versus the Cardinal of Stamford. Join me, Chet Kopic, for my pregame show at 12:30 right here on 89 WLS.
George Ryan, the governor before you, was in jail for pretty much the same thing. When people are burned, they become vigilant. Really. My friend once brought a girl home who turned out to be a dude. So every time he meets a girl, you can bet he checks for an Adam's apple. Really.
7:35. Awake with Jake. You know what I learned during the news? Well, not from the news. Two things. I was reminded, my buddy Ryan. I only had one buddy Ryan. That was Buddy Ryan. I forgot all about that. The former Bear coach. But the other thing, I didn't realize Barack Obama was a Blue Dog Democrat. Barack Obama was a Blue Dog Democrat because he voted to fund the Iraq War. numerous times. Nancy Pelosi, Blue Dog Democrat. Apparently in 2009, there were 221 Blue Dog Democrats in the House. Really?
With Lolo, I had learned how to eat small green chili peppers raw with dinner, plenty of rice. And away from the dinner table, I was introduced to dog meat.
This Blue Dog Democrat right there. You voted to fund the Iraq War numerous times. Okay. Let's go to Joey and Joeyette. Good morning, Joey.
Good morning. Yeah, I listened to that statement. I come away with thousands of embassies. What do we need an embassy for?
Well, thousands of employees around the world.
Well, yeah, okay. We got Skype. We've got laptops. My kid plays Game Boy games with kids from Germany in the basement all night.
Aren't you worried about that?
Well, kind of. But I mean,
why doesn't he have a girlfriend down in the basement? Never mind playing with games for somebody in Germany.
Instead of building car charger places for these embassies, if somebody loses their luggage, let them contact our embassy here in the United States, buy them a brand new bag. It'll be cheaper.
Well, that whole thing about, we have all these people and embassies and all that. Okay, you're going to tell me that the embassy in Libya or Afghanistan or Iraq is on the same scale as the one in Iceland or New Zealand? Come on.
Not at all.
You know that you know they. Well, you heard the testimony on Wednesday in the House from the people in the State Department. They're on top of things. They were asking for more security. Somebody said no for whatever reason.
I'd hate to work in one of these departments. It's all going to be like micromanaging from one person in the White House. Nobody can make a decision on anything, it seems like. Well,
according to Joe Biden and the way the White House said it yesterday, the president and Joe Biden and the White House, they wouldn't be in the loop on something like this. Somebody else decided whether there should be more security. It's not them. They're not responsible.
Okay, I hope Don gets better.
Thank you, Joey. Me too. Yeah, if you want to send Get Well to Don, it's getwelldon@gmail.com. He's going to go through some tough treatment. 6-week treatment. You can read about it on our website, WLSAM.com. You can go to Robert Feder's column from the other day in Time Out Chicago. It's some tough times, but, keep a positive thought. That's what you have to do. Matt on I-74. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Jake. Hey, I just want to make a comment regarding leadership. I was in the Air Force, and when we had a lot of DUIs from airmen off base or off time, our base commander was held accountable for those DUIs and would lose his job because of them. How much more should we hold a president accountable for all the things that are going on under his watch, including the embassy?
Well, this whole thing in Benghazi, there's so many different versions of who knew what and when they knew it and didn't know it. And it turns out, if you're, again, back on the testimony from the State Department on Wednesday, the head of the whatever department that was, Ms. Lamb, she was on the phone as the attack was happening. So they knew right then and there. It has nothing to do with some YouTube video with a crowd of people who got out of control. They knew right then and there it wasn't. It was a regular attack. And they've got video of it.
Right, but like the example I mentioned, though, the base commander doesn't know when people are driving drunk in their off time, but he's still held accountable for it. It's the president's job to make sure that those things are taken care of, and if it happens under his watch, it's his fault. And he never takes responsibility for anything.
Well, you know what? When the attack happened, if he just would have admitted when they knew it was terror, and now they're saying he said it was terror right off the bat, although numerous times he was asked about it on David Letterman, on The View, he never said it was terror. But now they're saying he did say, although nobody can find any tape of him saying it. But when you sent out the UN ambassador after, that Sunday after the attack, and she says, no, it was the video, I mean, somebody told her to say that. They can't get the story straight. That's the frustrating part.
Yeah, and it just demonstrates a lack of leadership. So, but appreciate it. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Matt. Let's go to Russ in Berwyn. Good morning, Russ.
Yeah, good morning, Jake.
Berwyn?
Yeah. You know, I had a comment about the spokesman here, this Carney guy.
Jay Carney, yes.
Yeah, he's like a Carney guy. He's like a guy from the circus. Who do you like better? This guy Carney from the circus or Boring Bob before him?
Robert Gibbs? I trust Robert Gibbs more than I trust Jay Carney. I trust Robert Gibbs 1,000% more than Carney. I really do.
Can I tell you something?
What?
Carney is from Illinois. You think that's a trade-off, a gimme?
I don't know.
Think it's a patronage job?
I have no idea. He used to work at Time Magazine.
You think this guy could go out and quell a crowd, or is he better off playing to the back pocket press in the White House?
Well, you know what? It's difficult if you have to go up there every day and you have to spin what's in the news. You know, to put your best light on it. It's not easy sometimes.
Yeah, I understand that, but the point is,
imagine Ron Ziegler during the Nixon years with Watergate. Look how difficult that. Imagine how difficult that had to be.
Yeah.
You know,
I think a lie is a lie is a lie. But what I'm saying is, this guy, they send him out there like a sheep, and there's no wolves out there, except for maybe Ed Henry from FNC or, a couple guys who actually ask him honest questions.
I think if you watch the Sunday morning shows tomorrow, you'll get an indication if this incident in Libya is going to start picking up steam.
Well, I think what I'm going to do tomorrow, instead of watching those shows, I think I'm going to watch all the religious shows who are going to start praying for peace in the world, because Obama is not delivering.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
And he did get the Nobel Peace Prize a few years ago. Now, CNN the other day, Piers Morgan, we played the tape, some of it the other day, from Patricia Smith, whose son, Sean Smith, was one of the 4 killed. He was the IT person. He was along with the ambassador. She's upset she feels she's getting the runaround. And I believe she's doing another interview today on one of the stations. Terry on the Indiana Toll Road.
It seems there's somebody being missed in the conversation. The embassies and the ambassadors answer to the Secretary of State. Hillary Clinton is the Secretary of State. I haven't seen anything. Maybe you have. I haven't seen any news, anybody ask Hillary Clinton all these questions, because it seems it would go to Hillary Clinton, and then Hillary would give it to the president, wouldn't she?
I've heard, away from here, a couple different stories, a couple different theories. One is she knew right off the bat what happened, and she was kind of told, keep your mouth shut because we have an election. Well,
She's the person the media ought to corner, because putting her on the spot, hopefully, and even Congress should call her in to testify, because that's where you'll get the answers, I believe.
She's in a position where I don't think she wants to really rock the boat, because I think she'd still like to be president in 2016.
Yeah, so she's really in a bad spot, because if she does know something bad, well, she's going to implicate her boss, and then they'll call it a turncoat, right?
Yeah, and you know what? And I still don't understand, if it was a planned attack, and they knew within an hour that it was Al-Qaeda because they intercepted a phone call, and they knew it was planned. They knew there were no, it wasn't some mob out there because of that stupid video. I don't know why they just didn't say it, unless it was because it happened on September 11th, number one, and number two, it was less than 5 days after the end of the Democratic Convention, where they made a big deal about Osama and Al-Qaeda being dead.
Yeah.
It was bad timing.
One of your previous callers were talking about spokesman. I think the spokesperson for Obama should always be that woman, Stephanie Cutter.
Oh, God.
Did you ever watch her? You watch her for a few seconds, and you just look at her and you say, why is this woman so vile and hateful? I think that's who the spokesperson to be all the time.
She throws the gasoline on the fire.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. My girlfriend, who's an ultra-liberal, even looks at her and says, oh, my God, she's vile.
Gore had somebody like that in 2000 that I will contend to the day I die, he turned enough votes for Gore to lose the election.
Oh yeah, I think we're on the same sheet of music. That's what she does. I mean, like I said, my girlfriend's an ultra liberal, and she watches Stephanie Cutter, and she wants to vote for anybody but whoever she represents.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go to Wheaton Dave. Good morning. Welcome to 89 WLS.
Yeah, great. And thanks for your work with John. He has really become quite a commentator. That's great.
I thought you were going to say he's become quite a John.
You know how Rahm Emanuel says never let a good crisis go to waste. And all this disinformation and incompetence could be rolled up into the narrative that they're talking about, because Obama keeps saying that the investigation is ongoing. And they also keep saying that Romney is incompetent as far as foreign policy. And so they could just come out and blow something up or arrest someone somewhere or hit a drone strike and say, well, hey, we had to bring out this disinformation because, the ongoing investigation, we got the guy. They were going to bomb some more embassies. And so, boom, October surprise right there.
Well, you know what? I think part of the problem is Joe Biden throwing the intelligence community under the bus Thursday night is not going to work well for them, because there's professionals, in those different agencies. And for them to get the blame on this when they really don't have anything, to be blamed for the way it looks, I think they're not going to be happy, and, they'll start leaking, maybe.
I think so, but you don't think that they could just say, look, we can put a cap on all this if we just catch somebody, and say, look, Romney, and he really almost ruined the whole thing by pushing this thing so publicly. We were going to get him in the end, and we almost lost him because Romney's, pushing people to make it public and everything, and we could have just kept it quiet. We might have got more people.
Who knows? Who knows? Because the other thing is, because it took them so long to get to the embassy, there were a lot of apparently a lot of different sensitive papers in there that who knows who has what right now.
Yeah.
It took them a while to get in there. Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
7:48. Back after this on 89 WLS. 7:53, I want to remind you that Chicago's talk leader, 89 WLS, on the air and on iHeartRadio.
The latest news from the nation and across the globe is just minutes away with ABC News, 89 WLS and WLSAM.com.
7:53. Awake with Jake. Paul Bryan coming up in a few minutes with Drive Chicago. And speaking of, we're talking about the Volts and the whole stable full of Volts they had in the Vienna embassy. GM, they hired a new head of their Cadillac division, a lobbyist. Because lobbyists knows cars. They know cars better than anybody else. Let's go to Beth on the road. Good morning, Beth.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
This is so exciting. What I'd like to say is that I think we're all being extremely naive, thinking that any of these Democrats are going to say anything different than what some speechwriter tells them to say. They're all in bed together. Whether you're listening to Hillary or Carney or any of these guys, they are like Obama. I don't know that they have a teleprompter, but they have a speech in front of them, and they have to stick to it. And if somebody asks them a question, they're going to just repeat the answer again like a broken record.
Yeah, but Beth, if they were all in bed together, they'd all have the same story.
Well,
they don't.
True. Well, that's true. I mean, sometimes I guess they don't have the same story, but maybe that's, I don't know. I don't know. You're right, though. It's, I would be embarrassed if I was one of them. I think I'd have to resign because I would realize that my boss and all the other people were incapable and incompetent, and that's a reflection, that would be a reflection of me. But I don't know. I guess they need a paycheck, and somehow maybe they'll write a book and they'll make millions of dollars from that. But I just wish the government would get out of my business, out of my husband's pocket. We have 5 kids. My husband works, maybe gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 once this week, works until, 9, 10 o'clock. We have a couple kids who have special needs. We have huge medical bills. But the last thing I want is Obamacare, because my kids would probably even be more restricted than they already are with our insurance carrier. I don't know. It scares the hell out of me, because my kids are going to be the ones who are. Well, I mean, we're already pretty tight, going as far as our income. One of the reasons my husband works such long hours is he's afraid he's going to be laid off.
Yeah, and then January 1st comes and taxes are going up more. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, thanks.
We got about a minute left. As I said, when I've talked to some people off the air away from here, and the different theories, and the other one is, Beth was just saying, they say what they say, and Joe Biden said, he didn't know, and the White House said yesterday, well, yeah, the White House didn't know, the president didn't know, Biden didn't know, which gets to what I was told, that fingers are getting pointed back at Hillary, because if the State Department knew and didn't ask for increased security, well, then it's Hillary's fault. And then it makes Hillary look bad for 2016, if that's where they're going. It's not, don't blame the White House, blame Hillary. And Joe Biden doesn't want to be president in 2016, by the way. Although reports are coming through this morning, now the State Department is saying that the budget cuts, had nothing to do with the security. They're pointing the finger back the other way this morning. It's going to get better. I'll be back at 9 o'clock Monday morning with John Cass, in for Bruce and Dan, who are in for Don and Roma, with the latest on Libya and everything else. Paul Bryant coming up right now on 89 WLS.
This ball